the instructions of President Trump, the U.S., will be lifting sanctions on potash. I think it is a very good move for the U.S. It will be a good move for the people of Belarus. We're lifting them now.
Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko ordered the release of 123 prisoners on December 13th, marking a significant political development amid ongoing international negotiations and mounting pressure on his long-standing rule. Those freed reportedly included 5 Ukrainian nationals, a Nobel Peace Prize laureate, and a prominent Belarusian opposition figure, highlighting the high-profile nature of the prisoner release. According to Reuters, 9 of the released prisoners left Belarus for neighboring Lithuania, while 114 others were transferred to Ukraine under coordinated arrangements. Reports said the youngest among those freed was a 25-year-old individual accused by authorities of working for Ukrainian intelligence services. The mass prisoner release came as part of a deal brokered by an envoy of US President Donald Trump, signaling a rare diplomatic breakthrough between Washington and Minsk. In exchange, the United States agreed to lift sanctions on Belarusian potash exports, a crucial ingredient used globally in fertilizer production. Belarus is one of the world's leading potash producers, accounting for nearly 20% of the global supply and making the sanctions relief economically significant. Officials indicated that additional sanctions on Belarus could be lifted in the future, as the United States plans to continue negotiations with Lukashenko's government. Trump's envoy John Cole told Reuters that as many as 1,000 remaining prisoners could be released in the coming months if talks progress successfully. This prisoner release was by far the largest since the Trump administration began engaging Belarus in diplomatic discussions earlier this year. Alexander Lukashenko, who has ruled Belarus since 1994, remains a close ally of Russian President Vladimir Putin. Belarus has faced heavy Western sanctions due to its political repression at home and its support for Russia's war in Ukraine. Lukashenko has also been diplomatically isolated since Belarus disputed 2020 presidential election. After the election, authorities in Minsk launched a violent crackdown on mass protests challenging the legitimacy of the vote. Nearly all opponents of Lukashenko who did not flee the country were subsequently arrested and jailed, effectively silencing domestic political opposition. How are you feeling?
Well, this morning, late at night, I was still in prison. I was there in completely different conditions, on a bunk, in a room with almost 40 people. And now I'm free. Of course, the feeling, considering I spent 4.5 years in prison in such conditions, is still somewhat unclear to me. But I think I'll get used to it quickly enough, accepting reality, the fact that I'm free, that I'm in a free country.
What does it mean to you to have received the Nobel Prize?
It must be said that this Nobel Prize was given not only to me personally, but to all Belarusian activists and the entire Belarusian people who have advocated and continue to advocate for democracy and human rights in Belarus, who continue their struggle. Although it is not going easy, it's going difficult, through imprisonment. Thousands of people have been and continue to be imprisoned. My colleague, Valentin Stefanovich, a human rights activist, also remains in prison, despite my release. Therefore, our struggle continues. And the Nobel Prize, I believe, was a certain recognition of our activism, our aspirations, which have not yet been realized. Therefore, the struggle continues.
American sanctions were imposed mostly for human rights abuses, and that's why it might be used, to release people. But European sanctions must be left for bigger issues, or for irreversible and systematic changes in Belarus. Because, only today about 10 people have been declared as extremists in Belarus, so this process of repression is continuing. But our aim is to stop it. President Trump now uses these carrots. He can also use sticks. He demanded the release of 1,300, so we'll see.